Hello everyone and welcome to the second day of the quarterfinals of the Freestyle Chess Grand Slam Weissenhaus. It is Caruana versus Gukesh, and in the previous game, I don't know if you've seen it, it was a beautiful game by both of them, but at a critical point in the game, Gukesh had to decide between two very difficult lines. One involved sacrificing his queen, and the other one, well, involved not sacrificing the queen, but also was very promising. Gukesh went for the latter line, and it just wasn't enough to take down Fabi. In the end, Gukesh even lost. So now Gukesh has to win with black, otherwise he is eliminated, and Fabi goes into the semifinals of this fine event. And it's a pretty cool position, and it's a pretty cool game. A very short one. I think the shortest one that we've had so far. Even, you know, not so much in terms of moves, even though it's very short. It's 18 moves long, but I don't know, you'll just see it. It's very hard to explain. But the position is interesting. Like, if you just, for example, they started with knight b3 and knight to b6, but already, if you wanted, you could bring the other knights into the game and just castle here. So castles, you would get some sort of a crazy position where the knights are out and the bishops are nicely tucked in. The rook is where the rook is supposed to be, the other rook as well, and the queen almost basically on a starting square. So it's not something that would confuse the players, I would say, as much as maybe some other positions. But okay, we have pawn to e4. Even in chess 960, one has to control the center to win the game. We have e5, pawn to f3, and knight to c6. We have pawn to d4, e captures, and knight captures on d4. We have pawn to f5. It's a very interesting pawn sacrifice by Gukesh. It's hard to say if they figured it out before the actual game, as they can discuss the positions a little bit, or maybe Gukesh spotted it during the game, but this f5 move took Gukesh some almost 10 minutes on the clock, and it's very strong. It's the top move recommended by the engine, saying that, okay, yes, you are giving up this pawn, but you are going after this pawn. And Gukesh's plan is very sound, but after Fabi played knight captures on f5, Gukesh should have captured on a2 right away. You capture it, and after the rook attacks bishop, you move away. You play bishop to e6, and you go after the knight. That is the best way to continue this game. But Gukesh first played g6. Sort of comes with tempo because, well, not just will you capture on a2, but you will also maybe get to play bishop to g7, which looks very nice. But the problem is, after knight to d4, now you're kind of not in time to capture on a2. Gukesh still captures, bishop captures on a2, but now Fabi throws in a knight captures on c6, attacking the rook on b8 as well, and weakening the a7 pawn. So, okay, he did not play it right away. He first played rook to a1, but you can play it either way. You can first capture on c6 and then rook a1, or rook n1 and a1 and then capture. Bishop back to e6, and now he captures on c6, d captures, and rook captures on a7. We have queen to e7 and already queen to a5. So you can see that it's much different, and also it cost Gukesh a pawn in the process, while not getting all that much as you would get if you didn't go for this g6 plan. But okay, bishop h6 check. We have bishop to e3 blocking, bishop captures on e3, knight captures on e3, and now castles kingside. It's a pretty long castle, but well, if you don't forget that it's possible, you know, it's just there. We have queen back to c3, and now, believe it or not, there is very little that that Gukesh can do. After this queen to c3 move, well, Gukesh played rook to a8. He wants to trade off rooks, which makes sense. He wants to activate his own rooks, and this rook isn't very active here. So Fabi played captures. We have captures, and now pawn to b3. Gukesh can now go queen to a3 with check, or he can try some other plan. But, for example, delivering this check looks very strong, but after bishop d3, there's just no good way to handle it, and you'll just bring the rook into the game, hide your king over to the king side, and you'll just enjoy extra pawn and a much safer king. So Gukesh has to try something. He plays queen g5, goes after the king here, and now bishop to e2. Just nicely developing, preparing to bring the rook into the game. Pawn to c5 going after Fabi's queen side, but Fabi doesn't care. Now he's the one castling king side. We have rook to d8, and here we have pawn to f4. Pawn to f4 wasn't, I believe, even played. Let me just check real quickly. It actually ended on castles. Yeah, on castles, it ended here. Gukesh saw the position, and he was in this position on move 18 that Gukesh Domarajo resigned the game, and with it is out of the competition. Fabi proceeds into the semifinals, where he will face, well, whoever wins some of the other games. All of three are still being played, and it's interesting here that there's no plan that Gukesh can sort of come up with that will stop pawn to f4, or you know, you're just gonna allow the rook to claim the d file. For example, you block the rook on the d file. Simply advancing the pawn to f4 already wins the game. Like queen goes to e7, f5. There's, I mean, if you don't want to ruin your pawn structure, you have to go back. f6 is coming. And now you either, you know, allow instant game over like this, or you maybe play queen to f7 and then you give up the c5 pawn. Now you're down 2 pawns, and then this pawn is coming to e5, and you will just, you know, commit yourself to some very, very slow suffering. And on the other hand, after castle's kingside, you could try to stop it with rook to f8. This does prevent pawn to f4, but then you give up the d file. And yes, the game continues, but I think Gukesh was just so disgusted with his position that he decided to call it a day. Wasn't his match, wasn't his game. He didn't want to, you know, even try. Maybe, of course, it is always possible that Fabi messes something up, you know, on a grand scale. It would have to really be on a grand scale to mess this up, but Gukesh says, nope, I resign, and that's it. Fabi is the winner, and he is the one going to the semifinals. I could check up on some other games, but I will also probably be making a second video on some of the games that finish, so I will keep you guys informed on the results. But yeah, not the greatest result for the reigning World Classical Champion. We'll see what's next for him, and what great victories will he achieve in perhaps the next tournament. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Brilliant stuff by Fabi. I mean, we are used to Fabi, you know, brilliantly dominating games like this, so nothing spectacular here. I would like to thank Andreas Rosenthal, Andrei Schrade, David Bacon, Andrew Steinel, and Yuri Ralchenko for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.